There. Well, I thought that I would do a quick video, hopefully it'll be a quick video, of how I cut my gym bag with my iFit flag. This happens to be one that I'm cutting for someone else, um, but I wanted to just kind of show you how I am projecting down onto my cutting table and cutting the flag and then cutting the interfacing. It takes about 4 yards of interfacing. You have to interface all of the internal pieces. I'm not showing cutting the circles and the other pieces because I want to protect the copyright for the pattern designer. So here I am. That's why I have those funny little stickers on there, because it's protecting the information on the pattern for dimensions. So here I'm cutting out some more lining. I'll talk about some of the supplies and where I've gotten some of the supplies, but I did buy some really nice canvas from Joann's Fabric. It was around $22 a yard, I believe, and you can obviously use coupons and things like that, but it can be pretty expensive if you get nice canvas. This bag here I actually made with an iFit flag. I did not have a pattern. I just kind of winged it. This one's actually much larger than this one here, which is the one that I kind of moved to using with an actual pattern. You can see how much smaller it is. It still fits all of these items though. This is my personal bag. I added a zipper. The pattern doesn't come with one, but I wanted to add one. But you can see that the size, it does actually fit a lot of running gear inside of it. I also use pinking shears, and because I'm projecting the pattern, I've added a 1/4 inch seam allowance on all of these because I like to use my pinking shears on canvas. If I don't, I end up getting strings everywhere. So that's why you'll see on all of the pieces that I'm using pinking shears. Again, I didn't show how I projected and cut all of these individual pieces just to protect the pattern. The pattern is from Style Magnolia, and they also have a really cool yoga bag that I've made as well. Here you can see that I'm also interfacing all of the individual pieces. Here are just some items that you need. You need hardware. I use basting spray. And you can also put like a homemade or a tag on one of the pockets if you would like to. I have my own tags that I use for my little side business. And here I'm just kind of showing you, I'm actually switching between 2 different bags. I made one bag for someone else and this one I made to sell. But I just attach my little cork tag on there, and this is one of the outside pockets. And on this one here, I don't put it on all of them. I added some Velcro so that it can be closed. It doesn't have to be closed off, but it can be if you would like it to be. If you have the supplies, you might as well go ahead and put it on there, but it's not necessary. This is just something that I do on some of them. So now I'm putting the side pocket together. This is, like I said, a little slip pocket that goes on one side of the bag. On the pattern shows, or you can do a mesh pocket. I did that on one of the first ones that I made. And then here I'm showing how I put the zipper on the other pocket. Again, the pattern doesn't call for that, but it's kind of a nice feature to have in case you want to put, keys or money or something like that. You do have something that you can close up. I also use waterproof canvas. I use a really nice waterproof canvas for the inside of both of the circle ends. You don't have to. You can use regular canvas if you would like to. I like to give it just that little bit of extra sturdiness, and then also it's waterproof. So, if you have something wet in there or something like that on the side, your shoes or something like that, you do have a little bit of protection there. Here I'm putting the top on the zipper. Again, I'm kind of going back and forth on these videos with two different bags, just because when I did the first video, it was really dark in my sewing area because I was projecting onto my table and I have to turn the lights down to do that. So in this video, I've already cut everything and don't need to project anymore. So I'm just kind of showing you how I made the circle zippered pocket. And I like to go on the back side of these circles when I'm using the waterproof canvas, just because I end up cutting these down and trimming them. As you can see in this photo, I trimmed all the way around the pocket. And that way I can use my pinking shears and get a really nice clean edge. By following the black waterproof canvas is the actual size that I need it to be to fit the bag. Here I'm skipping forward a little bit, just kind of showing you how I attach the hardware. This gives it a little bit of extra strength. I really like this pattern. Like I said, the first one I made, I just winged it. And it's a huge bag. I mean, I can fit a boatload of stuff in it, but it is bigger, it's bulkier. This is a much smaller, more easy to manage bag than the big one that I showed you previously. Now, I will say that the light blue, the 2021 flag, doesn't work as well for this small pattern, so just be aware of that. The 2022 flag definitely worked a lot better for this particular pattern. Here I'm just showing the circles, closing them off. I'm actually trimming them, trimming down the zipper, getting all of that nice and neat so that when I end up putting the end caps on, it fits well with the bag. And there they are. There are the two separate pieces. This is just kind of showing you the hardware, how the hardware is placed on the bag. And you can see that on this bag, I went around this bag with my serger to clean up the edges. You don't have to do that. You can use pinking shears like I showed you in a previous video. Here I'm showing you how you attach the binding tape. This pattern also requires quite a bit of binding tape. You bind both sides of the zipper, and then also you're binding both of the end caps so that when you look inside the bag, it looks really nice and neat. This is a beautiful pattern. I really like it. But it does require a lot of material, so just make sure you have all your ducks in a row before you start with this pattern. I used 2 zipper pulls on mine. The pattern originally required 1, and then a lot of us were like, well, I think 2 zipper pulls is better, and I think that they added that to the pattern because it just makes it so much easier on a long opening like this to have 2 zipper pulls. And here I'm just demonstrating how I'm attaching this particular bag on the other side, and then I always like to just verify that I have the right height on my end caps. This is just kind of showing that edge, getting ready to sew the other side. And I wanted to talk a little bit about materials here. You'll notice that I use zipper tape and zipper pulls. I buy that in bulk. It makes it a lot easier when I'm doing bags. The canvas again is from Joann's. The outside canvas is the iFit flag. Everything has been interfaced with a really nice, strong interfacing. It does take a lot of time. This video doesn't show that, but every single piece is interfaced. So it requires a lot of interfacing and a lot of patience, making sure that you get the interfacing on all of the individual pieces. The other thing that I use for this bag, the hardware, you can buy the hardware at different places. There's a ton of places that you can buy the hardware. This requires some 1.5 inch rectangle rings and then a slider. So you'll need webbing and things like that as well. But I think the most expensive part about this bag is going to be the interfacing and the canvas. Again, in this particular bag, the canvas was $20-something a yard, and you need quite a bit of it. So you can buy it cheaper, but you may not get the quality. It just really depends on where you're buying the canvas from. On the black waterproof canvas that I'm using on both of these bags, that canvas I bought from Wonderground Fabrics, and I highly recommend their waterproof canvas. It's some of the nicest canvas that I've personally worked with. When it comes to waterproof canvas, and I'm no way affiliated with, anybody here. I'm giving you my, 2 cents worth. So here again, this is a different bag, but I'm just verifying that I have my end caps correctly. And here is the black canvas that I'm using. Again, this is a high quality canvas. I absolutely love working with their canvas. And that's what I use on both end caps. I've kind of slowed down the videos here just to kind of demonstrate, show you when you're working with binding, and you'll notice that on one side of the binding, it's slightly, like just barely slightly shorter than the other side. And you want to put the short side down, and you'll notice that most of this end cap is cleaned up except for the zipper area. And I go around one more time and clean it up after I have sewn this on. And then that gives me a really nice clean edge to work with, so that when I fold my bias tape over, it looks nice and crisp. But anyway, you want to go around slowly, clip a lot, get that binding all the way around that end cap, and then you're going to cross over just like you would with any other binding. So this is a very, typical thing for binding, but those are just my 2 cents worth. And again, I always try to use pinking shears when I'm working with cotton or canvas. This is probably the most trickiest part of the pattern, is that fur side coming down and top stitching. I am using, I don't think you can see in this video because I have it sped up so fast, but I am using a Teflon foot because I'm working with the canvas flag. It helps it glide over a little bit easier on this machine. I do have an old vintage machine that I use for bag making thicker, like vinyl and stuff like that. But my domestic machine works fine on this. You don't also see me using a hump jump. It's what I was reaching for on the back of my machine. I use that to get over the ends where it's a little bit thicker, so that I'm not, bogging down on my my machine here. And once you get down to the end and you go back the other direction, it's a whole lot easier on that other side. When I'm going around these circles, I like to use my left hand to kind of guide, which is kind of what I'm showing here. The whole time that I am running this around my machine, I'm using my left hand to kind of guide and pull the fabric away. Otherwise, you'll get a lot of crimps in there, and it doesn't look as clean. I mean, sometimes that just naturally happens if you're, doing these end caps, but you can see how nice and clean this looks when I put it right side out. It just has a really, really nice edge around it. The insides are beautiful with this pattern. I do use basting spray for that part of the pattern, the foam. Here is a second bag that I was making. This one I actually made to sell. It wasn't for anybody in the group, but I went ahead and added this one as well, just so that you can see how this works with the zipper. So you put these zipper tabs on the end, and then here I'm doing the same thing. I'm installing the zipper, and then I'm going to, after I install the zipper, I'm going to put on the binding. Binding could be bought at Joann's Fabrics. I make my own sometimes. It really just depends on how much time I have. I found some on sale, so that's why I'm using the pre-made. It is definitely a lot easier than making it yourself. And if you can find it on sale, it's not too bad. And it just really depends on, there are some other discount places you can buy it, but Now I'm just getting ready to put the binding on the, I'm sorry, the zipper on the opposite side, and then I'll do the same thing and put the binding. On this particular bag, I used 1.5 inch hardware. You can see that I'm using a really nice strong webbing. Webbing does come in cheaper versions, so be careful if you're buying on Amazon that you're buying something that's going to be nice and sturdy, especially for this heavy bag. And then here is that nice shoulder pad that also has binding around it. And like I said, it has foam so that it makes it a little bit easier on your shoulder. I'm just cleaning up the edges, making sure they don't unravel. And it's pretty easy hardware installation on this bag. And then I just end up sewing the ends, making sure that I get a nice strong sew on those. And that's it. That's the bag. I'm saying that's it, like it doesn't require a lot of time, but you get the gist. So there's the Velcro pocket, and there's a zip pocket. Again, you don't have to use the Velcro if you don't want to, if you don't want to, go into buying even more hardware and supplies. And that's the finished bag. So I hope you enjoyed that, and I really hope to see some of you with your sewn bag soon. Looking forward to the 2023 flag. Wonder what color it's going to be.